We are going to try to lecture. Every lesson that we do now is going to try to be done in a more professional setting like this one. So we're going to begin with this one, and we're going to use it for the next lesson, which is lesson number 3. At this point, we're going to talk about a very basic concept in psychology, so I need your full attention for this. Look, I'm going to talk about what I call the duplex mind, but it does have different names. It can be called dual processing, dual track mind, two-track mind. I learned it as the duplex mind, so I'm going to teach it to you as the duplex mind. What is that? So this is a very basic concept in psychology. I do need you to remember this because we're going to revisit this topic often and often and often. This is what it means. Your mind works on 2 levels. Remember that. Your mind works on 2 levels. One level, which is called automatic, may also be called intuitive, quick, efficient, multitasking, almost unconscious. And a second level, which we call deliberate, or it may also be called analytical, effortful, reflexive, thoughtful, or conscious. So your mind works on 2 levels called automatic or deliberate. Each one is ruled by a different part of the brain. Your automatic thought is mostly ruled by your amygdala. Your deliberate or analytic thought is ruled by your prefrontal cortex, which is right in here. So let's talk about an example about this. Say, for example, everybody does this. If you're driving, if you know how to drive, and you've done this for a while, you know that it can be, when you've done this over and over and over, it can come up to the time when, has it happened to you that you turn on your car, leave the house, and maybe you drive for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and you don't even pay attention to the road because everything is flowing naturally? Think about this. Sometimes you park when you get to your destination, and at that moment you realize that you had been driving for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you didn't even realize it. Your mind was off thinking something else. Your mind was thinking of the music that you were listening to. Your mind was thinking about a conversation that you were having with someone. Your mind was thinking about all the things that you had to do for that day. But the least of your concerns was the road. Has it happened to you? It happens to me quite often. The thing is, your mind is meant to work on automatic quite often. When we drive and everything goes as expected, our mind goes on automatic. At that point, it's being in a more intuitive, quick fashion, and it doesn't really require any kind of effort from us. That is automatic. But think about this, because we all do this. If you're trying to reach a new destination, before we had Google Maps, you had to ask directions from people on the street. You thought you knew your place when you were driving. Imagine, you had the music up, like loud, and you were driving and you realized that you got lost. Everybody does the same thing. What is your first reaction? You lower the volume. Why do we do that? We do that because automatically we know that we have to start now focusing. When we start to focus, we can even feel it in our brain. Everything warms up in this section. At that moment is when you need to think. At that moment now you're a little bit more conscious about your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, and so on. That is when this deliberate analytical part of your brain takes over. So your mind works in 2 levels, one called automatic, like this. Quite often you're unconscious about it. And then is the deliberate, which is a little bit more slow, thoughtful, reflexive. And your mind tends to, move up from one level to another one, depending on the situation. Sometimes, think about it, when you're eating. Sometimes when you're eating, you do so the whole thing in 10 minutes and you never even paid attention. It may be your favorite meal and you don't even feel like you enjoy the meal because you were doing it on automatic. When you're exercising, sometimes when you exercise, you start to get into your routine and you don't even notice it. because your mind is going on automatic. When you're doing homework, when you're talking to people, it always tends to go on automatic. Here's what I'm trying to get to you. Which one do we use most often? This is the thing. This one, the deliberate thought, has a limit. We cannot stay all day on this one because it does take a toll on our brain. So we tend to overuse the automatic because this one requires effort. If we don't want to spend the effort too much because then it takes a toll on us, we prefer to run on automatic. And it seems like naturally our mind is inclined to do that, to run on automatic. So if there's ever a need for us to use that effortful thought, we should have more than enough reserves to do that. Here's the problem though. When our mind gets used to run on automatic, our mind gets too comfortable, and our mind starts to become what is called in the field, it starts to favor what is called cognitive misery, what I prefer to call lazy thoughts or lazy thinking. If your mind gets used to work on automatic, it's supposed to be so when we need to use our deliberate thought, we should be able to do that. But if our brain goes on automatic over and over and over again, we refuse to step into the next deliberate level when we need it. So we become lazy thinkers. I need you to think about that. It's a very basic concept in psychology. Let's review. Your mind works on two levels, one called automatic, ruled by your amygdala. The other one, deliberate, ruled by your prefrontal cortex. Which one do we use most often? The automatic. Why? So we should have enough power to use deliberate when we need it. Problem is, we tend to fall on this one so much that we become mentally lazy. We become lazy thinkers. So if we need to use this one, we refuse to do it because we keep going on automatic. If you listen to this video and if you did not pay attention to anything at all, it's because you were on automatic. So you need to rewatch the whole thing and you need to focus this second time around. When you read a book, sometimes you start to read and you realize by the third page that you start now to pay attention and that you actually understand what you're reading. And you need to go back to the first page again to reread what you already read because now you're paying attention, you know? So the duplex mind is a very simple, basic concept in psychology that will allow us to understand a lot of different aspects such as stereotypes, discrimination, intelligence, memory, even personality. We will revisit this topic often. So review this lesson and make sure you keep it. This is a very basic concept in psychology that we will use more than once. All right?